there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. Eh. You'll see it through. See it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You see it through. You see it through. Eh. You see it through. You see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife.
A pair of jeans, a shirt or two. We didn't pack as if we weren't going back. It doesn't matter if it's true. I've got a feeling love will give us what we lack. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. Yeah. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away, like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights.
Another day, eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time, buying things online, and it's not like we need them. We don't need them. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I were safe and sound.
it doesn't have my name on there, it's fine. Just remove it.
Discord not working audio-wise.
You want to try sharing yours?
Yeah, my internet cut out. I was trying to get connected back, and now it's back up again.
Yeah. Cast months. All right, now let's look at this.
I need to get.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah. Sharpie through your video engine.
Yeah, I'm starting it up right now. Here we go.
Oh, we're live. This is on screen. Oh, this is crazy. We're professionals. Well, so Sandbag, what's going on with that draft? And then as soon as this is fixed, I'll disappear.
Is this live on air?
yeah,
Exciting.
it's happening. It's happening.
Oh,
boy.
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Non-Scuffs. Things going on with the draft. Aurelian Soul is on my screen right now. I know we were talking behind the scenes. Not our favorite champion in the world in terms of entertainment factor, but could be an interesting champ here. Sharpie, you with us, man?
I am here. I had a bit of an internet issue, but I made it. There I am on screen.
Alright, just like we drew it up in the words of somebody more famous than I, this is gonna be a good one. Draft on screen, Sharpie, take us through it.
Well, let's see. We've got the Twisted Fate picked right away, which I initially would have thought would be that 80 Twisted Fate that we've seen kind of all throughout high elo, mid elo. We've seen it picked in pro play as well, but no, they've picked the Xayah, so they're going to go with the Twisted Fate mid lane. And considering the composition that they do have for themselves, I believe it's probably going to be an AP Twisted Fate. We've got the Aurelian Soul, we've got the Urgot for the top lane, Wukong coming in who just got a bunch of buffs, and the Seraphine AD carry, going to be buffing up that monkey and the bald man in the top side. So some very interesting very interesting comps here from these two teams, and can't wait to see how they play out.
Absolutely. Champs that we haven't seen for a while starting to find favor again. Urgot feels like he's been a solo queue sleeper for a while, where he's finding success and finding prominence. Some interesting tech, Cole giving the on-hit healing per auto, and Urgot autoing about 100 million times per second. Some interesting wrinkles thrown in here. A-Soul as well, like we touched on. Unorthodox champions, but if you're familiar, are not weak by any stretch.
No, they're not at all. Udyr also coming in. It's been a staple of the top lane, just to kind of as a good lane neutralizer. I know Urgot rather has been a good pick into the Udyr, has a good win rate against it, so it's a solid counter pick there for VLNO or Vilno, whatever. I don't know what we're gonna call him, but we'll figure that one out. But it's gonna be fun to watch these two guys duke it out in the top side, because it's been a top lane hasn't been exactly the most fun to watch this season so far, but an Urgot really mixes that up a little bit.
You're not a big fan of Maokai versus Malphite every game, Ornn versus Sion every game, where solo queues are a thought of the distant past. That is peak League of Legends. Push the wave in team fight, man.
You're right. I should be appreciating the macro brilliance of clear the wave and hover for mid. I should appreciate that more than I do.
Absolutely. That's also my bread and butter. A tank player, I love those style. But yeah, like you said, something a bit more interesting coming through here from the Urgot tanks moving around. And speaking of moving into river and hovering, Twisted Fate can look to ruin side lanes easy as breathing.
Very true. Twisted Fate has, once you hit that level 6, you have that roaming potential. Now, Aurelion Sol does have a little bit of roaming potential with that E to fly over the walls and just get to a side lane and try to match it, but it's not going to be anywhere clear what Twisted Fate brings to the table. On top of that, you've got that lockdown potential of a Thresh. You have that guaranteed lockdown of the Vi to pair up well with the Twisted Fate. I expect once they hit side lane, once they hit 6 rather, Singular Bread and Very Talented are going to be wanting to look for picks in the side lane and trying to snowball these pick champs towards early objectives. I'm expecting them to go for some early Void Grubs, expecting them to try to get some early Dragons to get ahead of the curve before this Urgot and this Aurelion Sol scale out of control.
Absolutely. Trying to find the burger flip for Grubs, always a good timing.
All right. So with that being said, I think we do have a little sub coming in for the AD carry. IQ of a coconut has the internet of a coconut, I guess, so can't show up. And so someone else is going to be subbing in for them, but that's okay. It's League of Legends. It's going to be a banger no matter what happens. So I guess we're going to be jumping into game here in just a second. So
yep.
Here we go.
Notorious TLP gonna be taking the rift instead of our famed coconut here. So cheeky level 1s, the 5-man Fnatic brush stack Sharpie. A classic or leave it in the past?
I think what they wanted to do was hover to prevent the Thresh from roaming. Now the problem is I was playing Flex Q with the boys the other day, and we 5-stacked against a Thresh like that, and the Thresh came through the bottom lane and just completely looped around on us. I was playing top lane, so I was sitting up there preventing the invade from top side. So there's 4 of them sitting that brush, and the Thresh looped around and got his AD carry a triple kill. So very fortunate for them that they didn't wrap around that side wall, but no early game shenanigans. I did see in the corner of the screen that Thresh did throw a blind hook out of that river pixel brush to try to get someone that might be sitting in that upper tri-bush there, but no one's there, so nothing really happens, and they're both starting to bot side, which means the junglers are going to be pathing towards top as this game progresses.
Yep, matched clears here on both sides. It's gonna be a fight for the scuttle, so keep an eye on those solo lanes. That's the classic, right? Junglers try and fight the fight over the crab, and whoever's laners have prio end up being the deal breaker more often than the jungle matchup does.
True. Yeah, there's a lot to watch here. I mean, like you said, you got to keep an eye on those scuttles. They're both going to be contesting them. Wukong is going for a bit of a faster clear, it looks like, unless he's doing a 3-camp bot. And that might be what he's doing, because he's taken his, if you see on the minimap, he's taken his wolves first and is now going to grubs. So his path is going to be a little bit different from Vi's, more bot lane centric. Might be looking to hover just in case Vi is trying to do a 3-camp as well. But we'll have to see what the Wukong wants to do here, because you do have that lockdown from the Leona as well.
Yep, Flash Ignite available and no cleanse on Xayah means that is guaranteed CC. Ghost doesn't help you when she is stunning you over the head a couple more times. So, like you said,
Wukong's coming down.
In the river might find
this
is
a bait.
This bot lane. Fallen Warrior, there it is. The stun comes through, set up beautifully, and the Oscar goes to the bot lane. Grabbing it up for Syndicate side. Lil Juice Pack, first blood in 3 minutes.
Yeah, well played for them to fake that they're overextending, as Leona takes a tower shot for a little bit of hook trade. Nice one there. Yeah, they overextend and bait the Thresh into stepping forward there, saying, hey, we're out of position. We're going to give you that make you think that you have an angle here to look for a pick, when in reality it was all a bait. We've got our Wukong down here looking for that 2-minute and 45-second gank timer. Just hit level 3, and Vi's invading up there. Isn't going to get anything from it, though.
Again, solo lanes, right? Look, you saw it on your minimap. Urgot flying forwards towards that red. Aurelion Sol over the wall. Singular Bread just had to dip on out. Has the smite for this crab, so will likely secure that, but not able to find the red encounter.
Yeah, so the invade, I think maybe you could, the Vi could have rushed it. She went for her wolves down there first.
In top, however, Singular Bread's getting a flash for Flash out of the top laner of Vi.
Yep, there's been a lot of early jungle action here, which means that's what you love to see when you're watching League of Legends. Now, sometimes you watch some pro games and they just handshake their clears for 38 minutes straight, and then there's one team fight and that wins them the whole game. This is not how these players like to play the game. They want to win, and they want to win it in their own fashion. They want to win because they can say, "I'm just straight up better than you," and I love to see it, man.
Not to mention, they pick champs to facilitate, right? This is
they
Vi
did.
Wukong. These are champs that want to scrap. These skirmish that you talked about in draft. This isn't some sort of full clear, like, camps after camps after camps. Get in, get involved. A couple more seconds till grubs, and then we're looking once more for another fight.
Nice. Ooh, that was a nice flay there by the Thresh. The hook is gonna land.
Fallen Warrior able to grab a very nice little string of spells here, flaying them out of the Zenith's Blade, hooking back. Issue being, Leona pressed W. Armor and MR out the wazoo, it amounted to about 180 HP despite the very nice little moment.
Yeah, nice. Leona's just a great tank overall as a support. I was talking with some friends about this earlier. League doesn't really have a lot of supports anymore. They're all just bruisers that dress like. League doesn't have a lot of tanks, rather. They're mostly bruisers that pretend to be tanks or that try to convince you that they're tanks, but they're all bruisers. Leona isn't one. She's really, truly a tank, and when you've got that ability, they're looking for something here.
Yeah, nope, able to slip over the wall here. A couple more inches on that Q with that wall breaker coming in to would have been in the kills here. Grubs going the other way, fight on 2 fronts down in the bot lane. Notorious TLP under fire and blown up. Meanwhile, top side of the map, Grubs scrapping. Very talented gold card for the displace. He's able to continue running away, but here comes the Warrior Trickster eating forward, but it's not enough in the tank. Aurelion Soul out of gas. Now they're on the run from the Udyr. Here he goes, flashing over the wall, buying the space that he doesn't have damage. You gotta hope. Like you said, there's no tanks, there's bruisers, and Wheeze is here to play. Vino's able to find the flip on a singular bread. Scrapping in the jungle, 4 kills fall so far this game, and it is back and forth on both sides.
Yeah, very, very scrappy early games. And on both of these teams, they just overextend a little bit too much. Vi gets caught thumping away on the wrong Wukong and kills the clone, and you don't get any money for that. Maybe you get 25 gold. So 25 gold over to the Vi. So fair's fair, but can't have her bread and eat it. She dies and gets a Wukong clone. Overextends. Both of these teams kind of really just overstepping a lot. It's interesting to watch. Then they overextend the Urgot comes down and gets a trade kill back, and it's really cool to watch how these guys just want to play aggressively, almost to a fault, but that means it's banger gameplay, and I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, I mean, the real winner when it comes to 2 teams overextending isn't blue side versus red side, it's spectators. We're the ones who get to just enjoy the show when they're just going hammer and tongs all game long. So I pitch this to you then. Drake coming up soon in just a moment in terms of fighting potential. Who's got the edge so far with very small gold leads on either side?
The edge goes to Twitch chat. We're going to see a banger here. At least I predict at least 4 deaths are going to happen here. They're all prepped for it. Vi's about to hit level 6. Wukong's about to hit level 6 as well. They really want those ultimates. Twisted Fate has the ultimate ready to roam. Teleports is up for the Udyr, but not for the Urgot, who decided to use it to get back to top lane, which is understandable, I guess. But yeah, I predict that any minute now, they're going to start looking for a big fight to try to get this dragon, and there's going to be a lot of deaths, and we're going to have a good time.
Absolutely. You can see keeping the lane reasonable when you still have control here as he's pushing the Udyr away. So connecting here on Fresh, looking for a lantern, connecting, but not quite on the same page as Singular Bread. There it is. Dark Passage on route. 3-man charm out of the Seraphine. Encore is beautiful. Fallen Warrior's got to backpedal away from Raven. Turning around the gank 2v3, and they push Eternal Tide backwards.
Oh, she flashed forward, not going to land anything. But yeah, that was a beautiful Seraphine ultimate, completely negating that dive, putting a huge chunk onto the Thresh. So now they're not going to have nearly as much prio. Thresh burned the Ignite, burned the Flash, looking for that play, and only got a Flash out of the Seraphine, not even having to pop the Cleanse. She does burn the ultimate, but I'd say, with that being said, big advantage now over to red side, as they're going to have a lot more abilities available. You're going to have their support engaged still there, their flashing, their ignite. So, and on top of that, the thresh health being so low, they should look for this dragon. And I think on the mini map they are taking it right now. So much for those lots of deaths. They botch a dive, they botch a trade, and I mean, no one dies for it, but that means dragon goes over free to the Wukong.
Free and clear. You saw just a moment of hesitation. Singular Bread running upriver, Warriors engaging meant that it was a pure 2v2 instead of a gank, which ended up making all the difference. Then you're taking the Lantern in, charmed up. Like you said, a little over ambitious, not finding the mark that time.
Yeah, I think in that situation, you want to call for your Twisted Fate to step out of mid lane. If you had taken that call, taken that that hook there from the Thresh, gone in, flayed back, and then Twisted Fate lands behind both of them, that's a much more potentially favorable fight for you, that you could easily get at least one kill off of that and transfer that into a dragon for yourselves. But no, Twisted Fate is mid because the Aurelion Soul just has really good wave clear and can force this card magician dude to stay mid lane and not roam around, which, for very talented, you're level 7 now. That's a couple minutes that you've had the ultimate and you still have not used that destiny. So I want to look to see if he can get an ultimate off as he's pushing mid wave and trying to see if maybe he can look for something topside.
Yeah, push and lean. This is what we were talking about earlier, of trying to hover the river. Twisted Fate electing to hit the tower instead, as Singular Bread lays a trap here. Raven clearing out the brush with her forehead, as she is level 6 and has got plenty of resources with the resists that you just have at your disposal with that W.
Yeah, Leona just, like I was saying, just really naturally tanky, and just makes her really good for those early face checks, because she's just got such great base stats when she pops that W. It allows her to step up like that, and Thresh doesn't even bother throwing down the hook because it's not going to mean anything. Might as well save it for if maybe Aurelion Soul tries to step forward. But yeah, Thresh is they're looking for a fight in here. Very talented, might be in trouble.
Yeah, caught out, looking without the team in position here. Not able to find the sweet spot of stun, but the slow follows through. Fallen Warriors on the retreat, piling in on top of Weeze. The AoEs are enough to get the job done as we wait for a Lantern, but can't not click it. Singular Bread falls too. Dropping mid first, the fight was nowhere to be had. ET sent packing.
Yeah, it was the great catch there onto the Twisted Fate, who was caught unawares. I think it might have been a Leona E that snagged him there, kept him from getting away, but just permanently CC, can't even burn the flash to get out of there. Causes a death there for the mid lane, and then the rest of the team decides to say, hey, we're gonna try to still save this fight, but it's already gone. Your mid laner is dead. Your AD carry is sitting bot line side. You have no damage left, and they just hand over another 2 kills on top of it, and grubs are gonna go over, so no team is gonna end up with that 5 grub critical point, but bunch of gold goes over to the Wukong, a kill over onto the Aurelion Soul, bot side push over to Kiora, who picks up another, I believe, 2 plates there, because had the nice push there onto the Xayah, as they might look for something else here, but no, they're going to step out before the Thresh can get there. So a great push, bunch of gold going over to the Seraphine, who's up 30 CS, by the way, over the Xayah. They've had a great early game, and this Seraphine is going to be significantly ahead of the AD carry Notorious TLP as they hit the mid game and other dragons start spawning, and you start looking to really get some advantage over the map, which is very problematic because you have this Twisted Fate Vi comp and you want to be looking for those early mid game skirmishes, but you're down 4,000 gold. It's going to be really difficult.
Absolutely it is. We're talking about 1,200 gold on the AD carry. Overall, somewhere in the 3k range as well. It's going to be tricky for you to find square fights. So the answer, make them dirty. Overload one side, try and pile in numbers here. Another beautiful play out of Fallen Warrior, pushing Raven back, but Charm connects all the same. Encore finding its way in, but no damage to follow up, waiting for Aurelion Soul en route. Singular Bread here to reinforce it, able to find the knockup with the R, and burning him down with the Q, finds his way on in. Raven in critical HP, but flashing away to safety temporarily. TLP queuing them down to dust, sent packing from the re-engage out of that destiny you called out. 2v2, the members keep assembling here, taking the Zenith Blade on in, but stunned up with a gold card. You might have resist, but Vi has shred, ulting your way onto the back lines. Kiora flashing away.
Here.
Here comes Lil Juice Pack. The fight keeps going. The TP to reinforce. just like Smash, everyone is here as Lil Juice Pack finds the Cyclone of his own. Weeze getting his mid laner out alive. They find everybody in the bot lane, but Syndicate still send them running.
Yeah, what a very interesting team fight there. Twisted Fate shows up late, a really late teleport there by the Udyr, and this is what else can I say? This is peak League of Legends. Like, where else do you see gameplay like this? It's League of Legends, baby, and I'm here for it. But like, it's so interesting to watch how this Twisted Fate plays, preferring to kind of push mid lane instead of sacking a few of those minions to try to get that earlier roam timer. ETNM, they called for that play. They went for it first, and for some reason, you saw the Vi wrapping around through bot side, but for some reason, yet again, Twisted Fate is not there until about 20 seconds later. So you gotta wonder, maybe at some point they'll get that synergy online, but you need your Twisted Fate to be roaming. You need your Twisted Fate to be using that Destiny to get and overload those side lanes, like you were saying. You're down 3,000 gold. You need every bit of damage you can, and you can't just rely on a Xayah, who doesn't even have a completed item yet, to be that carry at this moment.
Nah, she's definitely not in a position to burn anybody down, not even some of the squishier members so far, as they've got HP starting to tick over, right? Something that you would assume would be very fragile, like Kiora on the Seraphine. It's got so much health to work with out of that Rod of Ages that's ticking up over time. It's gonna take a while to burn down without even an item to do.
Yeah, Seraphine is going to be unnaturally tanky here early on. We'll have to see what other items she decides to go for, but if we see more of those kind of health AP items, she could be a very, very tanky mage to keep this Urgot and this Wukong boosted and supported, because that's probably what the Seraphine's going to want to be doing, putting those shields, locking down people to allow this Wukong and this Urgot to just shred through your team. We'll have to see what the build path is for Kiora, who is 2-0-2 and has a nice little bounty on her head.
Absolutely. Nice supplementary damage perhaps here as you have to vacate the premises. Encore
Ooh, they're
flying
looking
out as best as they can. They find the engage so far, but here comes Raven lining up once more, able to go up to the Feather Storm. Is the Xayah. They find their way onto the bot right on cue. Finding the engage. Tankiness don't matter. Stunned up underneath the structure. Here comes Aurelion Sol as the skies descend. TLP down. Sliding back away with that E. Raven trying to find the setup for the Dragon Free Fire, forcing Fallen Warriors flash, as he's going to be stepping away back into the jungle. Another Zenith Blade lands. Raven on point with those, sets up another, and Horizon picking up his fourth of the game. Meanwhile, in the jungle, invading on his own, Juice Pack and Weeze fight for the blue buff. Tank v tank, grabbed up by Juice Pack. The Monkey King comes out on top, but this top laner will not fall. No damage taken from this tank.
And I just want to comment on this really quick. Udyr decided to go for an AP build, as they might be looking for another little dive here. Nope, Udyr's gonna, it's an Udyr, so he's gonna be just fine. Yeah, that bot lane play though, you're getting closer to what you want to do. Twisted Fate is there almost on time that time. They look for a very aggressive dive past the tower onto the Seraphine, who does drop and hand over that bounty, but after you get that kill, you have to extend so far forward that this time Twisted Fate hasn't set the wave up properly, which allows the Aurelion Sol to leave and head to bot side, as well as
TLP no R.
Yeah.
Just no Feather Storm. There's no way of getting out of that one. So TLP not finding an exit route from that play.
Yeah, TLP just, it's a Xayah game, and you're not having fun with this one so far. But you never know. This one, games of League of Legends, they go all over the place. I've seen throws of 15,000. So you never know where this could go. The Xayah is going to be very strong as she gets more and more items. So let's have that Kraken Slayer completed. That's going to be really good against how tanky these people are going to be on the opposite side, especially considering how they've itemized. So good first item there for the Kraken Slayer. And as that crit does come online, she will get stronger and stronger. But it's left to be seen, because this Aurelion Sol is very ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you're a long way away from that point so far, and even if you do have the damage, application of that just becomes more and more difficult over time. When you're trying to auto-attack, but the ground is lava, and just underneath your feet, not even stable, can get so tough to fight through the superior range of A-Soul combined with the bot laners.
It's very true. There's now the Xayah does have a Thresh, does have a Vi, does have an Udyr to provide that sort of front line, but their team comp is just very difficult to pull off. You want to be looking for these picks and then rotate over and create space for the Xayah during the team fight in a 4v5 situation when you don't have those pick tools anymore. It's difficult to pull off, but it's doable. Your team fight ultimately can be better if you can get those picks, even if you're down some gold. So they need to be using this Destiny right around now when those Dragon is about to be coming up here in 15 seconds, and a Thresh hook like that could be your angle in.
Pressure connecting onto Urgot, however, maybe the tankiest target so far the Syndicate have at their disposal. Jockeying for position over mid-wave and river is going to set the stage for this dragon fight, as you called out. 4 more seconds till it spawns, and then we're ready to go for another fight as Fallen Warriors might be looking for a hook of his own, finding another Death Sentence play and gold card backwards, but here to kick it off, Cyclone finding its way onto 2 so far. Singular Fred on pursuit. Vi ultimate flying into the backlines onto Deersmith. 2 men already dead. They don't have the damage. There's no way to follow up on the Vi engage. Double kill over to Urgot. Vi is going to be chased to Kingdom Come here with a Blast Cone, perhaps finding the little boost that you need. Drake will be secured by Syndicate. It's only a matter of time, but Singular Bread heading for the hills. Beautiful fight out of the red squad.
Yeah, what a great fight. The Thresh lands the hook, but again, it's onto the Urgot, and they just decide we're going to take this trade as Vi is living for an impressive amount of time, but that's both smites burned to try to get a little bit of health, but ultimately, you know, it's just you're delaying the inevitable, and it's almost problematic because now that gives them a lot more time to go and take this Baron, because instead of the Vi being up now, Vi is still dead for another 15 seconds. That's a free dragon, a free Baron over to them. And they get their 3rd dragon, which puts them on soul point. The next 10 minutes are heavily in favor of red side here, who already have a, well, it looks like, maybe, unless I missed something.
Though, Warriors is going to be kicking off yet another Wheeze, perhaps trying to chip in on this front, but it's going to be chewed up and spit out. Urgot ult grinds him to dust. Ill-advised re-engage, ends up just donating 2 more to the chopping block. Urgot 406, Syndicate soul point, and Syndicate grabbing up the Baron on top.
Yeah, there's nothing much you could do. It's a Hail Mary attempt by them to try to get in there and maybe say you can chunk enough of their health bars to force them to think twice about maybe we can't safely take a Baron here, but they just don't have the damage. They just don't have the members there to make sure that they can get that damage chunk across, and Baron goes down. 10,000 gold lead now in favor of red side, and this is looking like very difficult to crawl back from at this point.
It's gonna take some monumental efforts from members, and the most important resource of all, time. This is gonna take so much time to accrue the XP and gold to bring it even to close to parity, as looking down the line, leads on every roll, purple on top, soul incoming as they fly over the wall into Vino, down to 2/3 HP, but Juice Pack en route to find the alley-oop and grabbing him into the R, shredding through health bars left, right, and center. Another Urgot double, as meanwhile in the mid lane, Raven's gonna be hooked underneath the structure. The skies descend onto Eclipsing Tides, 2-man pop up with a 3-man encore. The AoEs are just gorgeous. Raven holds the aggro, the mages blow them up, and it is Syndicate, Syndicate, Syndicate. Ace and base secured.
Yep, there's not going to be much that that the Vi is going to be able to do, who's up in 5 seconds. Udyr is going to be up in 10, but they're already chunking halfway through this first Nexus tower. It was a huge, bait and switch topside. That follows up to a good attempt there from the Thresh, but it's just too little, too late. Top lane inhibitor down. Mid lane inhibitor going to be dropping here as well, and I think they might step back and spend their gold because they probably have a lot in inventory. Reset, push the top side in, grab your soul point, and end the game. Is probably going to be the formula to success here.
Well, you were talking about games that you've seen thrown at the 15k mark. It's going to take something of that effort for this ET side, as we have crested that magical number, sir.
We have, and the problem is, what the way that they want to get back into the game is with picks. Now, the way that picks work is you only get a small lead from a pick. What you do is you want to take those small leads and snowball into slightly bigger leads and slightly bigger leads. But when you're down this far, a pick comp it doesn't do much for you at this point, because even if you do get a pick and completely destroy one person all the way down, there's 4 other carries as Fallen Warrior is caught.
You are privy to so much power with a microphone in your hands. Talking about one pick completely destroyed in isolation. Yeah, Fallen Warriors was victim to that moment.
Yep, it's very difficult as well. Syndicate is doing a great job of slowly pushing their vision lines forward. You can see in the bot side they've got it's not pink ward anymore. It's that vision trinket that they call it now. Plus a bunch of other wards all throughout the bush, throughout the jungle down. They're just making sure that there's no weird flank angles coming through, allowing them to safely 5-man this tower right down. They've got a wave there as well, though Twisted Fate's probably going to make quick work of that. Yeah, this isn't going to result in any too much here, but they've got the dragon spawning in about 30 seconds. So my guess is they push out one more wave, rotate top. Oh, cleanse was burned. But yeah, they're going to want to push out this one last wave, maybe try to get a little bit of chunk damage down, and then take that dragon, unless ETNM give them a fight that Syndicate can't say no to.
Yep, trying to find these hooks so far. Death Sentence, remember, fishing,
There
but
it
they're
is.
ready to pull the trigger. Here it goes underneath the structures, and it's just too much to handle. Syndicate Redacted, got the wallets, got the money required. Triple kill on its way to the mid laner, and in 25 minutes, Syndicate Redacted pick up game 1 of the BO3.
Whew. That was, man, what a dominant showing all across the board. 0 deaths in your top laner, 0 deaths in your jungler. You got that counter pick on, played it out very well. Huge leads, 700 gold bounty on the mid laner and the top laner. All across the board, they played their champions exactly how they're supposed to, and impressively, with that that Seraphine Leona lane, you're able to do very well against that Xayah Thresh, just straight up saying, we're better than you. And you had so many moments where you're able to turn around those pick attempts from the Vi, the Twisted Fate not quite working out with those timings for those roams. But, you know, we'll have to see how game 2 goes for them. I'm still hopeful that we get a 3-game series here, because I would love to see 3 games of this sort of banger gameplay.
I would too. I was having the time of my life early on in that. Like Chad even said, the Avengers assembling bot side, that one fight that felt like it was 4 minutes of 2v2 turning to 3v2, 3v3, 4v3, 4v4, everybody porting their way in with the music assembling. This game was ridiculous early on.
Yeah, quite a ridiculous game indeed. Like it felt like a game 1. We'll put it to you that way. It felt like a game 1 of a series where people are just trying stuff. You're still figuring out, hey, what exactly are our roam timings? What exactly when are we? Because when you think about a Twisted Fate, you really want to be prepping your engages at least a minute ahead. You want to be prepping your wave. You want to be coordinating with your jungler. You want to be making sure your top side is set correctly for a teleport, just in case. And all of that was just thrown out the window. And they said, look, I'm the jungler. I'm pathing bot side. Twisted Fate, are you coming? Don't care. I'm going in. And I love to see it, man.
It's a good time for sure. It's like you said, some refinement, I say, could be required, but it's a good time nonetheless.
I need you to repeat that one more time in the background. But all right. Yep. So that being said, this was a fun game. We've got a second game going to be coming up very shortly. We're going to take a quick break. So take a chance to get some water, take a chance to maybe step outside and get a breather, and then come back for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot of exciting League of Legends coming up very shortly.
In the story of our lives, the best of times through colored glass. Time rolls on, enough to let me move on past. But every little now and then, it creeps on back to shade my smile. was wrong to say. I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through colored glass. Time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shade my smile.
Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on.
Talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. Yeah. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The talking to myself and I can't focus. Yeah, I'm broken. The door is closing. Wanna be a part of something more than this. I've lost control of it. Oh, seeing the stars reminds me of you. Oh, oh, oh. You left me with scars, but I know that one day you'll see it through. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. Yeah. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife. We gonna live forever, forever. The afterlife.
A pair of jeans, a shirt or two. We didn't pack as if we weren't going back. It doesn't matter if it's true. I've got a feeling love will give us what we lack. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. Yeah. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. Tomorrow feels a year away. Like the seconds, the beginning and the end. But if in time it's yesterday, your picture's gonna bring it home to me again. The world is waiting up. The world is waiting half a step beyond our door. And if it's not enough, I wanna see the stuff the world has got in store. I wanna take it all in, I'm falling. The cityscape by night, wanna catch in my photos. Where you go, every corner twice as bright. They'll be my treasures forever. When I can't hold you tight, I'll see the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. I'll see the Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights, the Stockholm lights. The Stockholm lights.
We're
Beautiful
back.
stuff. Good to go. Sharpie, talk to me after that first game. Where do we even start unpicking that thing?
I don't even know where to start. There was a lot of, we were talking about it a little bit in the break. There was a lot of like, it felt like they threw all strategy and everything out the window and just started throwing their mice at the screen and seeing what hits. And one team, their mouse hit pretty well, and the other team it didn't. And that's okay. It's bangers all the way through. And we were like entertainingly disappointed in how that game played out. We'll put it to you that way. It was fun to watch. But I'm hoping that it goes better here in game 2. We were thinking that there was nothing wrong with the drafts. It was purely based off of execution, and despite that, they've still decided to they banned Twisted Fate away from themselves. So they banned the Seraphine away as well. But outside of that, it seems like the bans have stayed more or less the same.
Yep. Unfortunately, I believe with the quick substitution of the Notorious was a Maokai Enjoyer, so non-traditional bot lanes may be taken away from us here.
Yeah, do we know if it's still Notorious in the bot lane, or is it there's Ikiba Coconut? It is. No, Notorious still down there? Okay, so he's staying down there. All right. I wasn't sure if it was like a one-game substitution thing or if it's gonna be for the series. But we've got a Viego first pick. We've got a Brand Jungle. Definitely a powerful pick in the meta right now. So hopefully we can see some good things out of them. As there's a Senna, and do we see the Tom Kench we were also talking about during the break?
Yep, we're talking about non-trad bot lanes. Maybe not the squad I expected, but they were already Seraphine players. Senna would fit right into their bag, and it will be.
There's the
Senna
Tom
TK.
Kench.
Yup, another non-trad bot lane. Love to see it.
Yep, they played the Seraphine Leona. Now they got the Senna Tom Kench. It's kind of one of those supportive burst characters paired with the big tank. They played it very well in game 1. They definitely have the early game down pat. And this time they're going to play against a bit more difficult of a lane in a Varus and Nautilus, unless it's one of those weird situations where they send the Varus mid or top. But I doubt it. I'm guessing this is a Varus AD carry.
I feel like Riot's been trying their absolute best to corral the Archer into the bot lane. It's just like, stop building tank top, stop building mid lethal or lead AP, just stay where you're supposed to. So hopefully they got the memo.
I have a friend who is completely boosted purely by playing that supportive Varus top lane, where you rush that tank item, then you get another bruiser item, and got himself straight to I think master tier. And this guy doesn't deserve to be out of plat, but it's just so the Varus definitely has been toned down a little bit and found a bit more healthy of a niche to live in. But we'll have to see how it goes, where this Varus ends up going. We're expecting it to be AD carry. There's a Lux though, so that's going to be Lux mid. Obviously, the brand jungle Nautilus Although Nautilus could also go topside.
It could be the famed Nautilus jungle on top of that front. It could be. Something that a buddy of mine has been raving that it's not bad with EMAX with the clear. Not horrific. Could be flexibility on ET, but I think you're right. A strong pairing out of the CC from those two members, both Varus as well as Nautilus, as we see way locked in. Play-by-play's worst nightmare. That man has like 10 spells. Horrific.
Yeah, just here's my bit of advice for shoutcasting Hui. Just say Hui does the thing and he did the damage. That's the best you can do, as we've got a Yorick.
We are beyond the bottom of the barrel in terms of we're missing like a Skarner to be digging things.
Yeah,
out
we
here.
need what do we need? We need a Skarner. We need a Shyvana. We need, who else could we put in there?
I think Skarner Yorick, I believe, are actually the two display champions capped at all. So we got one of the
Rek'Sai
two
is
here.
in there. I know that. Rek'Sai is in
Yeah.
there. Rek'Sai is the lowest played jungler as far as I know.
But
and
I'm excited for this, and unironically, quite a solid counter pick into the set because no way of getting over the wall, not a great way of dealing with rules. If it's just his hands, he's going to be eating autos on the other side, and no real pure burst to try and haymaker, right? It's not like you eat a combo and trade one of your own. It's kind of ghoul jump, and then you're kind of half grit, and it's not great. Yorick, awesome pick here.
I agree. Yorick is a great pick. There's also, for Syndicate, there's not a lot of options to match him in a side wave either. You really have to send two people to deal with this Yorick, especially if Wheeze can get ahead. So you really want this Yorick to get ahead. I want to see this, whether it's a brand support or a Nautilus support, whichever one it is. I want to see the opposite of that, the jungler looking to try to get this Yorick ahead early, give him a big advantage over the set, and make that be your win condition. Play that split push game. It didn't work out super well when they tried to play that split pushy pick comp with the Twisted Fate and the Vi, but maybe this is, as a true dedicated side laner, maybe this will work out better for them. We'll have to find out how it goes, because we're about to jump into game one here in just a few moments.
Absolutely. A bit more of a kind of 4-1 style versus the 1-3-1 where you're trying to crash into cover. So variations on the style, and I personally love their chances a lot better in this game than the previous one. I still think underdogs, but they have tools to try and just kind of make it messy and play from these kind of side lanes.
Yeah, definitely a lot more tools. You're not just stuck trying to play that Vi ultimate game, but a lot more opportunities to play with them. We're going to jump here into game 2 here, see how this one plays out for them. Here we go, game 2 starting up right now.
Absolutely, and starting off with a 5-man run-in flash for flash, good reflexes on Kiora, and Summoner spell down. Go exploit this. Singular Bread, I want to see you bot by 6 minutes.
Yep. This is a very interesting thing. Oh, Nautilus has no items either. So this is problematic. So it's very interesting. I don't know what to think about this anymore, because Nautilus doesn't have any items. Senna has no flash. People are missing everything, because maybe Nautilus is now realizing and is throwing down that recall. If Tom throws that big old tongue of his over into that bush, not gonna do it. But there he's gonna pick up that World Atlas.
Yep, this man was in such a rush to get that invade going. He was just left his shoes at home, his coat at home, his map at home. He was just hustling out there for violence, and I respect that. Start as you intend to go on.
If you're a Nautilus, think about it. You're a Nautilus. What do you need a map for when you know exactly where you're already going to go? You're going to go into the jungle and hit Q. What's the map for?
You know what? I agree. Next time you load into a solo queue game, ask your support, no map, you know where you're going at spot lane anyway. I'm liking it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as someone who plays non-traditional supports, wait till you hear about non-traditional itemization in the support role. You've heard of rushing a Doran's Ring instead. You've heard of rushing maybe some sort of mana item or rushing a tier. Have you ever heard of the rushing nothing build? It's a real game changer, and it's coming to a solo queue game near you thanks to Divinity League here in Titan Esports.
As much as I love the the chef cooking. I wouldn't put your name on that one, but you know what? I think you just let that one develop, quote unquote, naturally, and then if it works, take the credit. Don't bet the house on it quite yet. Maybe, perhaps.
I'm not gonna bet the house on it. You're right. I'm not gonna bet any directions on it either because we don't have a map. But anyways, things are going pretty even bot side so far. The tongue's gonna be, he's not licking nothing there, but Hui damage is just ridiculous.
Yup, he's gonna be trying to chip his way through health bars, and one pot secured so far. However, Raven eating about 2/3 of his own, even through Guardian.
Brand's
He's
here.
gonna have to try and find his way out of its sticky situation. W away with the Abyssal Voyage. Can he find his exit? But the burn to finish him off. Catfish for dinner. First blood to ET.
Yeah, that's a nice hook there by Fallen Warrior, making sure that you can lock down this Tahm Kench, who tries to use that tunnel thing, as Brand's getting a nice little pick there as well.
Yep. Red and Juice
That's
Pack
a lot of damage.
Get it out. Lunches on either side here, flashing forward
Oh,
for the
that's a
vision, finding the
mistake.
Q, but the W out of the Tahm Kench. Beautiful setup, keeps his jungler alive for a moment, but finished with the piercing arrow. 800 HP on red buff. 3v3 incoming. Fallen Warrior kicks it off, finding the bind on the red buff himself. Horizon flashing away. 2 versus 2. 600 HP. Gonna be down to 60 and finished off. Tongue Lash connecting. Talented finding
the double
two-man
stun.
bind. Exiting their way out with a pair of roots. And 5 minutes, not even hit for 5 kills in the game. Blood flows in the jungle.
They have not changed anything from game one. Game two happens and they're like, you know what? You know what was really cool about game one? The fact that we decided to fight right away. And they said, don't add me, I'll do it again. And someone added them, so they're doing it again. And we're scrapping it all out. Top side is they're scrapping a lot as well. They've already burned through all their health pots. It's a set in a York game, so they have a lot of sustain as well. But bot side has been really fun to watch in this game one so far. It's been a chaotic, just cornucopia of bloodshed and banger. Just I love it, man. I love it.
And they're looking to keep it going here. QW not connecting, but the crushing maul shall, as Hui is able to find one of those 2 marks you saw underneath his feet. For those of you who don't understand the Hui, see the little glowing circle underneath him? 2 of those goes pop, and you take about a Brazilian damage, it feels like.
A bazillion damage does feel about right. Well, no, it feels wrong. But then when you take a look at it, the same guy who designed Hui is the same guy who designed Yumi and Release Viego. So, you know, what can you do?
What can you do? Dodge the spells is about the only thing you can do. So best of luck, Talented. Get the blue suede shoes on and try and find your way through the thicket here. As you see a roam coming through from the Nautilus, find connecting plus the slow. Meanwhile, spiraling despair, that Hui ultimate finding his way onto Talented. Fallen Warrior marching his way in, finding a melee range hook, a route to follow up, but the burst comes through the other side. Passive not enough, and support diff in the mid lane as Lux is the beneficiary of a roam.
Yeah, Fallen Warrior says, hey, very talented. That game one, your roams were just off on the Twisted Fate. Let me show you how to roam correctly. Shows up mid lane exactly when you need to, gets the kill, hand it over to the Lux. I believe it was the Lux who got that one, wasn't it? Maybe it was... No, it was the Nautilus who got it. Says, you know what? I'm not even going to give you the kill. What you get from this is learning experience to learn how to roam. And Nautilus takes the gold and heads it back bot lane. Says, I'm going to pick up a Bramble Vest, some boots, and a cloth armor. And now what are Senna and Tahm Kench going to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a very spiky chest plate to be throwing your tongue at there, Tahm Kench.
He's not going to be having near as much fun here. Luckily for the TK, does not apply on spells anymore. Meaning he can just not auto the guy with the Bramble Vest and get full healing with those tongue lashes and those Senecus. Meanwhile, level 6 in hand, mid is going to try and return the favor. Not a fan of the previous roam here. Looking for a tongue lash of his own is Raven. Abyssal Voyage knocked up into the air. Kiora is going to be pumping the damage in as the PK marches forwards. Auto for auto. Beautiful Q away. Meanwhile, flashing up into the top lane, it's going to be a full ultimate committed. Showstopper and knocks him down. The bot fight fizzles. Vino picks up a solo kill, and both subs live with their lives. Juice Pack finding Finding
Oh,
another
they're
Q
still
is
fighting.
the Nautilus. The Fear on the other side, but first reset goes to Viego, looking for more, finding the Q onto TLP, and he is DEAD, continuing the aggression here in the river. Juice Pack has stolen up the Archer's body, throws out that W for the slow. Says, I don't like your chances in this one here, Bread. Gonna head on back, trying to deny the Drake, but 4k HP. They continue to chip away a bit to the blue team.
Yeah, this is still risky because, you know, Brand is there, doesn't have the smite though, and Little Juice Pack does, but there's a lot of damage, and Nautilus is coming back. Bars is coming back down as well.
100 able to find the W, sustaining as best they can, but the Lux ultimate, the final spark, finishes the job as Raven flashes away. Juice Pack in the middle of 3, finding a stun, ulting his way on with the Heartbreaker, and gets the reset. He is invulnerable through the piercing arrow, an exit strat in hand. Swiping away the ult with the stolen body, smiting down the Drake. Lil Juice Pack finessing himself a Drake for his team.
Yeah, that was a really great turn there. So I love it how none of these teams are ever willing to just let the fight go. Even if you're in a 2v4 situation, Brand and Lux stick around, keep throwing spells all over the place down there in the bot side river. Some landing, some missing, but they don't care. They just want to keep contesting. They want to keep fighting. They want to say, if we're going to win this game, we're going to win because we outfought them. If we're going to lose because we took bad fights. They're not going to just roll over and let the game die or let the game be slow. They're not going to let this game be boring to watch. All these teams just want to play. They want to scrap. They're here to play League of Legends. They're not here to play Farming Simulator. And that's what League of Legends is all about.
It is indeed making sure that you come out the other side based on your ability to fight is the most exciting way of doing it. That long-range bolt, by the way, just continuing the mini Hui lesson, long-range bolt QW. After a delay, if you're isolated or completely CC'd, that thing hits like a bus.
It hits like a bus. Now, how would you know that? Have you been hit by a bus before?
Gently. Really gently. Meanwhile,
Gently. All right, we do have a fight,
this
though.
one off here. Showstopper Vino has already expended that ultimate. Singular Bread burning down and finished off. Viego gets his reset. Fallen Warriors is going to be heading for the hills and heads for Gray Screen instead.
Oh, the hook.
Beautiful hook connecting onto Wheeze. Continuing the assault on the rest of the red squad is Juice Pack. This Viego is on a rampage. 5-1-3. Drake's secured. Grubs next up. Blue side off to the races.
Yeah, blue side back up to about a 3,500 gold lead, give or take. It started off so well for them, this game did. They had that first blood that the Nautilus was able to pick up. They had the roam go mid, but now they look for that objective, they look for that dragon, and it just falls apart. They mess up some of their positioning, they overstay in that bot tri-bush, and now they overlook for those grubs without having the correct people to rotate up for it, and they lose even more kills, they lose even more gold, 3 kills going over, and just more and more leads as this game is starting to slowly get away from them as well. But it's far from over yet. The big problem so far, though, is the Yorick. Yorick is down about 20 CS to the set, who also has solo killed the Yorick earlier on in this game, so has picked up 3 plates on this man with the shovel. That's not what you want to see happening topside, especially because Wheeze did counterpick the Yorick into the set. So he elected this matchup, and it's just gone terribly wrong so far in this game.
Yeah, he knew what he was getting himself into, but so far, not finding his way through it. However, Singular Bread looking to turn the tides here. Vino, no ult. Remember, it was used in the grub fight. Full grit stack. Keep away from the sweet spot as it misses altogether. Singular Bread's gonna be trying to kite away from this. Passive stack, Pyroclasm, popped for damage. Wheeze on Q picks up his first kill again.
Yeah, it does pick up the kill, but that's a lot of damage that you can already do onto that Brand. Brought him down to about 20% health. So this set is very, very strong here in this early transitioning over into the mid game. And yeah, you do get a kill, you get a bit of a shutdown, I do believe, as well. But we'll have to see how much Yor can get from this. I think it's going to be chunking at least 1 or 2 plates from that. But Set is teleporting right back into the top side. Has taken 2 plates, but Brand is here for the counter engage.
This time Set has R, able to find the cage so far, so can walk his way away, electing not to ult his way out of the cage, just pushing him back away as Wheeze will retreat underneath the structure.
Probably smart to call for the retreat. They're probably going to pick up this wave, I'm guessing. and then clear out. Bot side is going pretty well for Kiora and Illicit Raven. They continuously have the push. Senna, I'm going to do a quick little check here on this Senna, who is already sitting at about 34 stacks, so that's not too bad so far, 12 minutes into the game. Very talented and in a bit of trouble here, though. Goodness.
Fight their way out of it. Popped, unfortunately. No chance here for Talented as they're going to be knocked down. Meanwhile, Wheeze in a tricky situation up top, down to a third himself. Fallen Warriors connecting with the ultimate, but so much space bot. Kiora is able to find his way out.
Yeah, they're bullying Brand out of his jungle there as well. The Nautilus and Varus are going to have to roam up, but that means the Senna, Tom Kent's get to push their bot lane, and they're going to lose minions. So, yeah, Viego going to pick up that Scuttle Crab. Singular Bread gets nothing. Bot side gets to push in another wave for free, and probably get a free reset here whenever they want to as well. No, they're going to hover around for the Dragon. They've got the push. Wei has the push mid lane. There's not much you can do if you're the Brand here. Good luck getting the second Dragon.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, unfortunately, here. Syndicate Redacted will be able to grab up their second Lizard of the game. Meanwhile, up top lane, flashing away from the sweet spot is Wheeze. No cage landing means Vino can just keep hustling down the river.
He might win this.
The E does land. Showstopper on the other side. Remember, no W, and the shovel is brought down, avenging the solo kill from earlier. Yorick is online.
Yorick has the the Trinity Force completed, so now with that item in his inventory, Yorick can actually start to do some real damage back to Vino. And as this matchup continues now, it's going to get more and more difficult for the set to stay with this Yorick, and that is what you needed to get back into this game.
It was exactly what you called out as being important, and they get it in a couple of moments here. Raven and Warrior both ignited up. This time Dredgeline not finding the mark here, but Raven's going to deliver himself back into the other side. Going for an enemy team devour instead of his own allied Senna, and pays the price. TLP. Arrows will fly. Double kill to Varus, and TLP is paid.
And what I like about that is that TLP and Fallen Warrior went for that play. It wasn't the dive onto them that went wrong. It wasn't some scrappy thing. It was them electing, we're going to take this trade. Notorious TLP using the ultimate aggressively, and they can just continue to look for the trade. Varus continues to step forward and get little bits of chunk damage onto the Senna, takes the ultimate like a champ, flashes back out, kills the Toad, kills Senna, and now they're probably they're gonna get back just in time to defend their tower. But that's a huge swing and advantage of Notorious and Fallen Warrior if they can get out, which I think they should be able to.
They've been fighting for so long. Nautilus ult came back off cooldown, so depth charge pops him up into the air. Hook greater than fish, and ET's bot lane will escape.
Yeah, that's really important for them, guys. I'm going to take a peek here really quick. Yeah, that puts Varus about 400 gold, or no, about 300 gold ahead of the Senna now. So big advantages back over to Notorious TLP and Fallen Warrior, who, remember, had that nice early game with that early first blood, and now they're just starting to pick that back up again. Varus has that...
Trap blades trying to find their way onto the Viego in the middle of three people. He's going to be blown up with the final spark. 1K delivered into the mid lane of ET. Juice pack over aggression, and he is squeezed for every drop of gold he's worth.
A Juice pack goes down. That's even more gold going to be going over to red side here. This mid game is going a lot better for them. Yeah, they are down about 1,500 gold, but that's not nearly as bad as it was a couple minutes ago. It was 4,000 gold at one point, and you've significantly shrunk that back down. You've gotten 3 kills onto each of your 2 carries. Yorick has picked up that solo kill onto the set, so now he's going to start winning that side lane there as well. So much better lane state here going into game 2. Let's see if they can potentially pull off as that hook goes just wide of the Hui there on Durasin. So that could have been another pick there as well.
Absolutely. Both of the side lanes are basically at parity. Mid lane holding its own. You only have one major threat left to deal with so far. Lil Juice Pack, do not give a reset. The first one to fall is gotta be this jungler, or the rest of the fight is gonna be a nightmare for ET.
Here's Lil Juice Pack looking for a kill though.
Yep. this is exactly what we feared here as Juice Pack, Spectral Maw being charged, not able to find the stun with some nice footwork, but when you sidestep, you are run down, picking up the body and running off. Lil Juice Pack grabs another victim.
Yeah, I don't know what Brand is doing there in the bot wave at the moment. There's not much to do down there. Send one of your carries to go pick that up instead. Someone who can actually side lane a little bit more safely. I would say put the Yorick down there potentially, and then recall him now to start split pushing topside for the counter pressure on the Dragon. That's probably what you want to be doing at the moment. Keep the Yorick bot side to allow you to have that instant response to set up your vision around the Dragon, and then set it topside to counter split push for that third Drake. But regardless, Brand goes down there and does drop, but he's going to be up no problem for this next drag, but did burn the flash, so isn't going to be able to position quite so aggressively.
That's exactly
Man,
what I was
Yorick
gonna
is
call
pushing
out.
so well.
Yep, Yorick is marching down lane. Remember, Maiden of the Mist, anytime that Maiden and Yorick are hitting the same person, Yorick is healing, so health bars can be deceptive, split push can be deceptive. Meanwhile, jostling for river control, TLP eating a Q auto and pushed back as Warrior cannot find his hook.
This is a very tedious spot to be. Third Dragon is up here, and they're already rotating over for it. If you're Fallen Warrior, you've got to step in and look for this. As, oh, the stun is going to land. Fight might be happening.
Yeah, Raven is going to eat himself a brand
Oh, the hook!
passive. A long-range dredge line finds its way, but the Devourer to pull him away. It's going to be Juice Pack into the back lines. Talonted flashing away for temporary safety, smiting him down and bursting
Get
him
the
out.
Yorick.
On cue, what you wanted. Now Raven under fire. It is TLP and Warrior, slivers of HP to their name. Here comes the Yorick. E lands. Slow is acquired. Horizon's going to be flashing away from the man with the shovel. Kiora gives chase. Flashing the other way is Senna as they retreat. Vino trying to play Vanguard here, but he is forced to flash as well. Yorick and Maiden are able to drive them away. They cut off Juice Pack and claim their first Drake of the game.
It's a big fight for them. Yorick teleported in exactly when, and not just when you wanted him to teleport in, but exactly where. Maybe your better ward would have been that one that's behind the bush or behind the dragon if they had put one there a little bit sooner. But that's a great spot to teleport in. Catches the Tom Kench trying to sneak out and one with a sliver of health, thumps him over the head with that shovel, picks up a free kill right there, and then completely zones everybody else off. Set teleports in, but teleports in about 10 seconds too late. Gets out of the fight, doesn't without even using the showstopper there, that ultimate. So Dragon goes over. Dragon stacking for Little Juice Pack is completely shut down there, and now it's a Ocean Soul as well for this Yorick, which is going to be really nice for him. So we're going to see a fight here.
Devour's not available.
Oh.
That's just a pick. Kiora finished off the passive auto, knocked him out of Abyssal Dive. Tom Kench has got 100 HP after Gray Shield pops.
Oh, the
Flashing
flash!
forwards, TLP spiraling despair with a massive pop damage, gets one back. Quay gets an avenging kill on his bot lane, but it's still a 2-for-1, and Lux is looking for one of her own here. Singular Bread, meanwhile, running headlong into the Viego and is blown up before you can blink. The King has arrived, finding his way into the mid lane once more, but no spells connecting means Juice Pack will continue to link up with his mid.
That Viego build is definitely a build. Very damage heavy. No, he's really going to be looking to get those picks early in the fight and reset. That's the way you have to play it if you're building it this way. You want to get someone ASAP, 100 to 0 them, and instantly translate into someone else. If you can't do that, you just die. And we saw that in that last dragon fight. Like, he just died a little bit too soon into the fight. He wasn't able to get anybody killed because you're just so squishy with that build relative to some of the other builds that I've seen Viego be viable with. So, gonna have to depend upon the Tom Kench and the set to be your front line here to start off the fight, then follow up, clean him up, and reset. But yeah, 8 kills over to this Viego, so definitely it's gonna be pretty strong for him because he's got all that gold, punched right into his inventory with all those kills. So it is gonna be pretty strong for him because he's pretty far ahead, but. We'll have to see how it plays out as the game goes later because you're not going to be able to be one of those tanks kind of looking and hovering around these objectives as the game goes on and on.
No, you're definitely not. Although, one thing I do want to acknowledge is the fact he doesn't have a marksman. He's got a Senna, right? Someone who is more of the chip poke supportive. Yeah, plenty of damage later on in the game. What souls pile up. But AP damage, plenty. AD damage, he's going to be the one to provide here. So I actually kind of agree with the build in this case, considering the fact he also has a TK Devour. Meanwhile, Wee's in so much trouble. 4-man pile up, and he is going to be shut down. Way grabs up another combo connecting from Brand, but it is through TK's support shield.
Devour's
Chains of Corruption. They like their chances, but they only get half of his health bar for a couple big tools. Warrior's going to be dredge lining his way in. 3-man root out of the Senna. Vino leading the charge here, trying to find the sweet spot. Blown up before the Haymaker. The Despair spirals through backlines as ET retreats. Brand, slowed by the Tongue Lash, waiting for Raven to find another Q. W from the Hui from downtown finishes the job. 2 for 1. Sin picking that up.
Yeah, that's a great catch right there. You see the Yorick and the top side by themselves. Doesn't have the vision set up correctly to be able to, you know, push forward like that, especially when your tower, your outer top lane tower is gone. So Baron's most likely going to be going down here because the Brand is down as well.
Oh, I'm not able to find the light binding here. Juice Pack can be flashing over the wall into TLP, but here comes the final spark. Not enough damage. Warriors can't set it up. And with the Devour coming out of Tom Kench, he gets a shield of his own. This is Reset City incoming. Clay finds another on backlines. Juice Pack marching forwards with the Varus' body, continuing to charge forwards here underneath the towers and all. No fear on this jungler. He continues to press his advantage. Ends up being a 4 for 3 at the end of the day. Very messy fight, and Juice Pack a little hypey, it feels.
Yeah, Juice Pack getting ahead of himself a little bit there. Viego trying, you know, getting a little hypey. I think that might have, it's going to be all right for them and doesn't cost them too much per se because you couldn't have taken the Baron at that point anyway, and Dragon isn't up for another 20 seconds. Although I guess, you know, if Red Side really want to push for this, they can set up and just take the Dragon immediately on cooldown because little Juice Pack won't be there. So maybe that's an angle for them to get that second drag here.
That's what I'm thinking here. If they set up in the Drake pit, they will be able to TP in Wheeze before Juice Pack can arrive. You see him in base now, but they weren't able to get out in time. Late. So it is that window has elapsed.
And they even lost their mid tower. You had all the like the tempo. So there's a hook onto set.
Yep, Fallen Warrior connecting here, but remember Vino is not the person you dive into, especially with that grit bar filling underneath him. That is a one-way trip for this support if he tries to take him on headlong. Eyes on Juice Pack, lurking in the back of the pit.
He's pushing mid right now.
They do not have numbers advantage. Sin trying to push them
Wait,
back
teleport.
Here. They are grouping up. 1k HP, smited down by the Brand, and they get their Lizard now up to the fight. Sink their bread down to half HP to Ryzen on the back lines. TLP yanking him in. Blue side finding the fight here. It's just going to be mopped up from there. Acing them clean. Pushing out mid and TPing in. They get a Drake but lose them all.
Yeah, the whole team goes down. That's really unfortunate. It's kind of hard to follow what was happening there because everyone just kind of clustered up. But the problem is you're clustering up when there's a set, there's a Hui, there's a Viego, and you don't like that's just a recipe for disaster. Set picking up a couple kills in there, Hui doing a ton of damage over the side after the teleporting from picking up that mid tower, and Set's gonna be pushing in for another tower. They're taking this dragon or this Baron rather here with basically no contest, and they're just lucky. Red side is that Baran was able to secure that dragon because Viego did jump over the wall with that ultimate, and the dragon was smiteable. I saw it go down to about 600. So lucky that little Juice Pack did not steal that one away as well.
Could have been so much worse. Again, they've been able to deny 2 Drakes, buying themselves at minimum 10 more minutes before they're facing a soul. But in the meantime, Viego had a massive lead and feels like he's converted it. Hui is now the threat. Look at the items that he's been able to pick up after that TP.
Yeah, Hui's picked up the Rabadon's Death Cap, 3 items now. Yeah, this Hui is going to be really strong. There's no way he's not going to be hitting.
Okay, I have made a vow to myself not to go for these jokes, and I will continue that vow. I refuse. It's just right there in front of me the entire time.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes, but you got to get one in a night. You got to get one in.
Yep. TP, however, scouted out with a blue ward. I don't know if he's been noticed he's been spotted, but popped up by TK and a freebie here. The blue side more than happy to gobble that up.
That's one of those. I don't even know if that's a you're not resetting, so that's not a lost to shopkeeper moment either. That's just straight up. I think you're sitting in a bush where you think you're safe, and you're peeking around the map to figure out if you can rotate topside or something like that. And you're so concerned with all the flashy minions and stuff, with all their purple in front of you, that you miss the dagger at your throat, and they jump right on you and send you to the gray screen once again.
Yep. Top T2 gonna fall as a result. Meanwhile, mid inhib under fire. You gotta wait for Varus, it feels. You just don't have the juice behind it without the members all grouped up and fighting. Top T3 under fire here. Wee's trying to set the tone so far, but they lose the structure. They group around their inhib. You gotta say enough is enough at some point here for ET.
Yeah, Wei's not there, and Wei does not have teleports. You need to. This is actually such a good moment for them to just say, "Screw it, we're engaging right now." And it's quickly falling too late for them. They needed to make a play right there, but at this point they're all grouped together again. That moment is gone. That was basically your best opportunity that you're gonna get in a long time, I'm guessing. And there's a good chance they might try to just push in with this Baron and those little Void Grubs, because they got 5 of them, to end the game right here. They're gonna take basically. Oh, here's the fight.
Take their way, but the final spark here, Devour to set them away. The lifeline delivered here for Juice Pack, and now so much has been expended. Weez with the spiraling despair. So much damage pours through. The window has closed firmly shut on ET's fingers as Syndicate Redacted with the finishing touches on the ace, the finishing touches on the base, and close the game out 2-0. Syndicate Redacted take a bow.
That was a very much closer game than it was in game 1, but in the end they get some favorable team fights. They get the Baron going in their direction. It could have gone both ways there once we hit the mid game, but very well executed, especially around that Hui being able to sit back and just tank damage, the set being able to get in there and get some really good haymakers going with that W, the true damage, and just some really good pulls as well, pulling multiple people in. Well executed, and gotta give props to this this Viego for putting up so much damage, picking up so many kills there. Looking at this, Viego did 21,000 damage. Hui did 30k in this game. That's a lot from this long range mage.
Yeah, the artillery mage living up to the name here, pouring in damage. I remember at least 2 of those long range bolts able to finish off members brand once. One up onto the top side. He's finding these long range snipes. He's finding the close range damage. A couple R's connecting for the massive CC. It's just everything you want from your mid.
Yeah, Darrison on both of these games here, the Aurelian Soul and now the Hui, just played them so well. Very patient, not trying to push too hard to do anything too crazy or too flashy. Content to just say, hey, I know where the power in my kit lies. I know when to fight and when not to. I know how to maximize damage, did the most damage on the team, had the least deaths on the team, had the highest KDA of the team, had the highest gold per minute on the team. That's what you want from a mid laner. Well played to Darrison, who's probably going to be my MVP for this series tonight.
I would probably have to give the same one. Yeah, Juice Pack as well, credit to him, had that massive early lead, converted that into leads elsewhere on the map, and Syndicate Redacted looking scary here on this 4th week.
Yeah, very trigger happy, but they execute very well on it. So excited to see how this team continues to push forward. They looked very well coordinated as well. Did have a bit of a more struggling bot side in game 2 than game 1, where they just really ran it over. But looking forward to seeing how this team progresses as this season goes on. A great match from them, great showing from them overall. And as for Eclipsing Tides, we'll have to see. They've had some, the rosters switching around a little bit, and I think that's probably affecting them a lot, because you just can't get that team cohesion. We see Notorious TLP just completely caught out there on a blue ward unawares, and just some of the things didn't seem quite in sync with how the bot lane wanted to play with the rest of the team.
Yeah, it got tough there later on. To their credit, this was the last minute substitution, right? This is a pure top player who's now trying to be thrown into the marksman role, arguably one of the toughest roles to slot into. So
Yes.
it can be tricky to try and pilot that. He put up a pretty solid performance on the Varus, all things considered.
I would completely agree. It was a very good Varus game. If anyone could have carried that game, it would have been that Varus to give them the win. Was doing very well, positioning pretty well, stepping forward pretty aggressively, and I love to see that from him. So hopefully we'll get to see more of this team continue to grow, continue to get better at their team cohesion and play together. We saw quite a few moments of brilliance from them where they're able to pick up quite a few solo kills. Wheeze with that one onto the set, and bot lane multiple times. They took those 2v2 fights and just won them outright. So there's a lot to look. There's a lot of bright sides for this team as they move forward through this season.
Absolutely. Bright sides for sure. Maybe that rotating door, as you said, is going to be tricky for them to find their fit, but eventually these pieces have got to fall together, right?
They have to fall together at some point, hopefully at least. We've had teams just never click, but I'm really hoping that's not the case with this team because they're fun to watch, and we'll look forward to seeing more of them. That being said, I do believe that's going to be it for us tonight. It's been a great cast here hanging out with you guys, being able to watch these really fun games as they continue forward. More games going tomorrow, more games going throughout the rest of the week here at Titan Esports, though. So there's a lot of League of Legends content coming. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in the next matches. I'll see you next week. I've been Sharpie, and this has been this has been Sandbag, and it's been a pleasure to cast for you guys. Everyone, have a good night.
Every little now and then it creeps on back to shade my smile. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Moving on, moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. Some days there's no one else who loves me like you used to. Some days I'm not myself, there's no one I can turn to. And I know all the feelings that we shared are in the past. And I know your relationships are never meant to last. It might take some time, but I'll be alright. I'm moving on, I'm moving on. I know times are tough, but I've had enough. I'm moving on. something more than this. I've lost control of it.